It's time for Insurance Unlocked with your host, Heather Arias from Udy & Associates American Family Insurance. Heather will be sharing her proven insurance tips to help you save money.
Hey, Heather, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was just busy dancing to our theme music
I know,
over
it's a
there.
good theme song. I liked it.
I think it goes well with the theme of our show, Insurance Unlocked.
Yes.
Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
We try to, because everybody loves insurance. It's like
Oh, it's so glamorous.
people wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to go out and try to buy some insurance today.
That is their first thought. Absolutely.
I'm in the mood. I just got to go do it.
When it hits, when it strikes, you just do it.
You just do it. It's like buying something fun. Honey, do we have any more insurance?
Yep, exactly.
So I understand today we're going to talk a little bit about auto insurance and some of the misconceptions that most people, including me, sometimes have about auto insurance. And I know that one of them is cheaper is always better. I think, don't we always want the cheapest of everything? Why do I not want cheap insurance?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people will shop on price and not value and the coverage and the quality of the coverage. When you sacrifice the quality and the coverage for the price, you may not be completely covered in the event of something. So if you're in a car accident and maybe you decided to not get a specific coverage, like an uninsured motorist or underinsured, you're going to have a huge gap there when the claim comes. And you won't have you're not going to be able to recoup that and become whole again.
So there's a gap. I've heard the term gap insurance. Is that part of what that is? There's a gap between what I got my insurance for and then what the other person wasn't insured for. Is that what that is?
So normally gap coverage, when you purchase a vehicle and you buy it off the lot, sometimes they'll offer you gap coverage. A lot of times insurance companies can offer it as well. So if you're in a car accident and your brand new car that you have a loan on gets totaled, the gap coverage will step in and they'll pay the difference between what you owe and what the insurance is going to offer you.
Oh.
So it helps close that gap for you.
So is that something that you guys do at your company?
Yes, we do have gap insurance at ours.
All right. So basically what that is that like say you get cheap insurance and you don't have the gap, if you get whacked and there's a big difference between what it costs, you could be out
almost,
several $1,000s.
What do you say, upside down, I guess, in the vehicle, in a sense?
Have you seen that happen before?
Yes, I have seen it happen.
People are probably not happy when that happens.
Oh, no. When the calls come in, they're not happy.
They're going, I have insurance. You guys have to cover this.
Yes, exactly.
And I know you probably enjoy fielding those phone calls.
Oh, they're my favorite. But again, sometimes people will do a higher deductible to save money. Just think when you go to file that claim and you need to use that, you're going to be paying out more money to get the coverage back than if you chose a lower deductible.
So
sometimes it's worth it to pay a little bit more for insurance because when the time comes that you need to use it, you'll have the correct coverages and you'll be able to have the claim covered as needed.
So
it's less out of your pocket, essentially.
So let's say I want to save some money and I go, Heather, I just want the cheapest insurance that I can get. And then you go, well, okay, we can do that, but, and then what are some suggestions that you give them that they probably will be better off if they get those particular options?
Just starting with liability limits. We do have state minimums here in the state of Utah specifically. When someone comes in our office, we don't like to quote state minimums because when you're in an accident, there's not usually going to be enough there to cover you. So we'll quote a little bit higher. Starting there, people try to get lower limits to save money. It's not always worth it. I mean, you get in an accident, if you hit someone and then the person in the other vehicle's injured, medical is so expensive now.
Yeah.
You go to a hospital, it's outrageous. And if you don't have enough coverage on your policy and you max out those limits, guess who has to pay the difference?
Not you.
Yeah. You will out of your own pocket.
Yeah. So what is the state minimum here in Utah?
$25.65.
What does that mean?
So $25,000 per person, $65,000 per accident.
Well, most people...
Now, I believe, actually, let me take that back. I believe they've raised those limits.
Oh, good.
I think it might be $35.65 now.
35 for the...
$1,000 per person, $65,000 per accident.
Okay.
That just came out in January.
So people might be thinking, listen, my car's not worth $65,000 and, I don't know anybody who has $35,000 worth of damage. So they may be thinking, I don't need any more. But in reality, that's just the bare minimum. They're going to need some extra stuff to be fully covered.
Yeah, so that would be your liability limits. So let's say you're driving along, you hit somebody, and you're at fault.
Yeah.
They're injured. They go to the hospital. You have up to the minimum now, the $35,000 per person in the other vehicle.
Right.
And then the total of that accident will max out at $65,000 that will be covered.
Oh.
So if you're looking at wanting to insure the vehicle, your own vehicle, if you're at fault in an accident, that's when your comprehensive and collision deductibles would come in.
So to really protect myself, let's say that I do run into somebody, and which never happens, but I run into somebody. And,
oh, yeah, we'll never get in an accident.
I'm just like, I never get in an accident. I don't need any of this stuff. Insurance, forget it.
Yeah.
So what should I really get? What would be a good comprehensive coverage, a sample?
Oh, yeah.
That you'd
I
recommend?
would start minimum of 100,000, 300,000 limits of liability, preferably 250,000, 500,000. So when you're talking to your agent, ask them to quote you those limits or see if you're insured for that. On coverage for your vehicle, comprehensive and collision, full coverage, I would start with at least a $500 deductible on both of those.
Okay. Now, are those rates set like universal throughout the insurance world, or do different insurance agencies and companies offer different rates for
different
the same
rates
type of
depending
coverage?
on the vehicle and the person's driving experience. So at American Family, what I might quote full coverage for you could be different than if you went to State Farm and got a quote. It's just how the calculations are done within the insurance agencies.
So what is something that might affect the quote? Like, would my credit score perhaps
Absolutely.
affect the quote?
And that's another misconception that people have. They think, well, my credit's not going to affect my insurance rates. Well, it absolutely does. They look at people with lower credit as a higher risk on the road.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So if you can maintain a higher credit score, you're going to get a better insurance rate naturally.
That's
So
interesting.
that's something to think about. Mhm.
Yeah. So in addition to like getting a home loan, buying a house or something, or even applying for a credit card, it's best to have a good credit score.
Absolutely.
That will help to lower your car insurance payment.
Yes, absolutely. Now, some people don't have a credit score yet. Maybe they're just 18. They don't really have anything. That's okay. You can still get insurance. But as the more you build your credit, the better it gets. You'll see the rate will get better for you over time.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard some people say, I know this is a common misconception that I've heard. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because you are,
Oh, I will.
Heather, the trained professional. So let me know if you've ever heard this before. I don't really need underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage. I don't think I need that because everybody has insurance and everybody gets covered.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely not true. But I hear that.
You
Another
do.
misconception. But the fact that you don't need it, absolutely not true. There are so many people on the road you don't even know about that don't think they need insurance. So they're not insured. And if they hit you and they're at fault, you have to use your own insurance to cover your own medical as well as your vehicle. So uninsured would be if somebody were to hit you that had no insurance at all.
Mm-hmm.
You can file a claim and use that coverage for liability and medical. Underinsured is if the person hit you and they didn't have enough insurance to cover your medical bills and the liability. You can file a claim and use that coverage.
So kind of like if somebody decided to cheap out and get with the state minimum, as you mentioned
State minimum,
early.
they waived. Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody's driving along, has state minimum, right? They hit you, T-bone you, you have you and some passengers in the vehicle are all in the hospital. They max out their insurance. You can use your underinsured insurance on your policy to help cover the rest of the medical bills.
So let's say that happens to me. I
Mm-hmm.
get T-bone in that exact situation and I file a claim. Is that going to cause my insurance rates to go up? It's their fault. I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, so any claim you file has the potential to raise your insurance rates. It would depend on the company. I could see potentially filing a claim for underinsured to affect your rates, which unfortunately could upset the insured having to do that because it wasn't their fault. But that's just how the insurance is. The money's there to use it. You hope you never have to use it. I always say insurance is kind of like a melting pot, like health insurance. You put money into it, hoping you never use it, but it is there when you need it. So yes, it could potentially change or increase your rates.
Okay. So here's another misconception that I've heard people say. You let me know if you've ever heard this. So somebody calls up and they go, hey, Heather, listen, I really don't drive very much. I just want to cancel my insurance because I just really don't drive. I just go to the store every once in a while. So I want to cancel my car insurance. What do you think?
I would tell them, please don't do that. So the state requires you to have auto insurance by law. So even if your vehicle's parked there and you're not driving it, if it's a registered vehicle, it needs to have some kind of insurance on it. Now, there are options. You could take the vehicle to liability only, not put comprehensive and collision on it, and just have your liability limits while it's parked there.
Yeah.
Another option is storage coverage. Some insurance companies will offer that. So essentially, we wipe out all the coverage but comprehensive. So if it's parked and you don't drive it at all, okay, it's just a car you're not using.
Right.
Drop to storage coverage. You have comprehensive on it, that deductible. You still have coverage if it were vandalized, hail damage, fire, those kind of things.
Does it cover theft?
Theft as well. That's a big one. So if someone steals it, but it's just sitting there, you still would have coverage for that.
All right. So let's say I'm a car guy and I'm working on my 1957 Chevy Bel Air.
Perfect.
Kind of trick it all out, get it all custom and cool. But I'm not driving it because, the tranny's dropped. It doesn't have a motor in it. We're still painting the body. It's going to take me a year to put this thing back together. So rather than get the whole insurance package, I can just get like a storage.
That's what I would recommend, yes. If it's something you're working on, you still have it registered, though, with the state. If you're just working on it in your garage, I would at least maintain comprehensive on it. And storage coverage, yes. Absolutely.
And that covers theft as well.
Theft, vandalism, fire, I think wind, hail damage, stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. So I need to ask you this. I don't really know. So why should I do business with you? Because, all insurance companies are exactly the same. They're just all doing the same thing. And I've heard that this whole insurance thing is basically a scam anyway. So why do I
hear that all the time.
Yeah. So why do I want to? They're all the same. Why do I even want to work with you or somebody else?
I see all insurance companies are not the same. Actually, there are different coverages with different. The majority of coverages. Let me step back. The majority of coverages with insurance companies are the same. But some insurance companies may offer coverages or discounts that another one may not. It also helps that there are insurance companies that are not local or in person, that they may be over the phone. But when you have a office or a local office that you can walk into and talk to somebody face to face, that makes a big difference as well.
What about some of these insurance companies that you and we all see on TV, like with their little reptile mascots and things like that? I mean, let's just say, I'll just call these guys I see on TV. I don't really need to walk into somebody's office and talk to a person. I mean, do a lot of people do that thinking they're going to save money, perhaps?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But when you come into an office and sit down with somebody or call in and schedule an appointment to come in, we sit with you face to face and we get to know you. We get to learn about your family. We create that relationship, and we're truly there to cover you and make sure you're taken care of and that there are no holes in your coverage. When you're on the phone, you don't always know who you're talking to. Yeah. But it's nice when you can sit down face to face, see somebody, kind of bond over something, We can ask questions to find out, what do you do for a living? Oh, cool, you're a landscaper. Well, do you have your business insured? Yes, no. Yeah. We can talk to you about that. We can look at your current policy that you have just to make sure everything's whole.
I think that's important. I think it's important to have a relationship with your insurance person,
Absolutely.
The same as you would have with a realtor or your attorney or anything like that. I remember one time that I called one of those companies on TV, and it was a really cheap rate. And I was like so excited. Wow, this is so cheap.
Yeah.
And then we got T-boned, believe it or not, just almost the same thing that you were talking about. Yes, sitting there, and this guy came and just T-boned us right there in the middle of the street and pretty much totaled the car. However, since we weren't dealing like with a real person, just a voice on the phone, the service that we got from that was really not very good because I really didn't have a relationship. And it turned out that they refused to total the car because it was like $200 below the total car limit to fix it, from what the adjuster said. But then in reality, when they actually fixed it, it was like $6,000
More.
over. And we're going, why didn't you guys just total the car?
Yeah.
They couldn't give us a straight answer. Why? Because they were somewhere back east.
They were just, yeah.
They really didn't care. So personally, I prefer walking into an office and talking to someone like you and saying, hey, Heather, this is what's going on. How can you help me out? So I think it's important to have a good relationship.
And it's also important to at least once a year do a review with your insurance agent. Hopefully you have a local one you can go into or call on the phone. But it's good to go in, take a look at your policy, look over everything. A lot of times there are coverages that you might need that you aren't even aware of that you don't have on your policy, or there could be a discount available. You know, at our agency, we just got a new Costco discount. You're a Costco member, you get a discount on your auto and home insurance. Not every insurance company offers that. So that is something that, you know, if you've been with us for a few years, it's a new discount. Talk to us. Let's get it on there. Let's save you some more money.
So is that something you guys do automatically, or do I need to go in and see you and say, hey, it's time for my annual review. What's going on? How can you save me some money?
So we have people in our office, we have people that have gone through policies to see who's needing the discount and who's reached out.
Okay.
But as reviews are coming up, it's the perfect time to sit down and go over it. Maybe you've acquired some trailers that you don't have insured. Oh, we can find that out and add them to your policy. Trailers need to be covered too, even little utility trailers.
So the more things I have insured, I've got 2 cars, I have a motorcycle. And I just bought 2 trailers. So the more stuff I have, can I do it in bulk, which helps to lower the rate?
Bundle.
A bundle.
So you can qualify for something in our agency or in our company. We call it a multi-product discount or a multi-line discount. The more that you insured with us, the bigger the savings are.
That sounds like a good idea. So
you get your auto, let's insure your home.
So I'm guessing then that you'd recommend anybody who's got insurance to at least have an annual review with whoever's doing their
100%.
insurance. I think that's great.
Things changes. Life, you know, people get married, they have babies. There's so many different things that can happen. And with each of those, there are insurance things that can come up that need to be changed or altered.
Great.
You know?
So before we wrap it up, do you have any last words of wisdom and insurance tips before we head out?
Insurance is extremely important. It is there for you in your time of need. And I know sometimes people don't want to pay for it because they think, I don't need this. Nothing will ever happen to me. Well, I can tell you from experience and from what I witnessed, something will happen to everybody. So
It happens to
whether it's a
everyone.
car accident or a house fire or, you know, flood, anything, there's insurance there that you can have to help insure you and make sure that you're whole and make your life a lot easier.
So if I want to get a hold of you to ask some questions, how can I get a hold of you to set up an appointment?
Yeah. Well, our office number is 435-251-9102. You can go to our website, udyandassociates.com. That's UDYANDASSOCIATES.com. Reach us there. We have Facebook, Instagram, all of those you can reach out to and message us on as well.
Sounds good. Also, I'm going to give a little preview of our next podcast.
Perfect. Let's do it.
You're going to be giving some misconceptions about home insurance, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Home insurance has some myths and misconceptions too.
All right. Well, Heather, thanks for being our guest
Thank you so much for having
We look
me.
forward to seeing you next time and the next episode on home insurance misconceptions right here on Insurance Unlocked.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insurance Unlocked, hosted by Heather Arias from UD & Associates American Family Insurance in St. George, Utah. For more information or a free consultation, call 435-251-9102.